Hey folks, it is hot. I came out here, I had some extra time here the last couple of days, two days or 3 days. Yesterday, I went, I was trying to go to Blue Lake. We have a Blue Pond, Blue Hole, which is a sinkhole. And then there's Blue Lake, which is way out in the middle of nowhere. Both of them are out in the middle of nowhere. Blue Lake is a bigger one. It's beautiful. A lot of people go there, but it's I want to say 35 miles probably. Anyhow, I rode the four-wheeler up there yesterday to go look, and there's a property I'd found last year or year before, and when you're going through the dirt roads to go toward that Blue Lake, there's a trail that cuts into the timber. And when you turn into that trail, the left side is all posted, it's all private land. Well, I pulled it up on the map on my hunting app, and it showed that that two trail that I was on and the land from the left side of the two trail all the way back to the right, all of that was privately owned by an investment group. And we checked into it. Chris and I looked into it last year, and it is a property. It's not public hunting land. It is privately owned. It is not posted as private property. Um, it is the game wardens say that it's in a gray zone or gray area or something like that. You can hunt it, and they don't really monitor it from what they were telling me, and I don't understand it. I don't understand the whole gray zone area, but anyhow, I went walking through there to go look, and there's a few hunting stands here and there, ground blinds, a couple of old ladder stands, and you'll find a few trail cameras. Um, Found two of them that were operational, not yesterday, but a few months ago when I rode through there. Yesterday, when I got up there, I walked back, I don't know, maybe an eighth of a mile off the trail, and it was like I stepped into a different property. The area where I was at, there's you'll find a lot of spent shotgun cases, the shells. You know, when they shoot a shotgun, the hull itself, the I don't know what you call it, when it gets ejected. You see a bunch of them, and you'll find a few boot prints and water bottles, soda bottles, just a lot of sign that people are in there. But once I got back in there a ways, there was no human sign at all. It was like it just cut off, and it was beautiful property. And I've got some footage of it. I don't know if I'm going to be sharing that video or not. I have not put it together. I'm always filming just like I am right now. You may or may not see this either. I don't show you everything that I film. Um, I film almost every day of the week, and you guys may see one piece of footage from 30 or 40 different videos that I filmed. You may see one video of it. I just don't share everything, but I do. If I get into a strange area, see some strange stuff or something weird happens, then yeah, I definitely will upload that. Unless the footage is real bad and you can't tell anything at all out of it, then I won't upload it. But anyhow, when I got back in that property, at one point the property just, it felt really strange, had a really bizarre feeling to it. It was not a scary feeling, as though I were in danger. It was not a feeling of a predator watching me. I don't know how to put it into words. The feeling was, I don't know. I don't know how to express it. It was just bizarre. It was weird. And I've experienced it before. It's not the first time I've had that feeling, but I don't get that feeling often. And I got it over there. Well, I started venturing back. I was following a few deer trails and found some rubs and scrapes from last rut and hunting season, and a bunch of beat out trails where these deer are pouring through that property. Nobody's hunting back there. And I ended up finding a lower jaw of a wild hog. Looked to be a pretty large hog. His tusks were small on him. I mean, they weren't big tusks. They were missing, but the root canal going into the jawbone was it was small in diameter, so he didn't have giant tusks. But it was just kind of odd to find that there. There's no pigs in that area. There's one little water hole. It's not big enough to be a pond. On the GPS map on my hunting app, it looks to be between 20 and 30 feet long and maybe 15 feet wide. And it's sort of shaped like a peanut. Little small watering hole out in the middle of the pines, and it looks like it had like a hardwood area, like a bunch of oaks at one end of it. And my intention was to walk in there and go back to where them oaks were and see what type of oaks they were, if they're white oaks or pin oaks, or one of these oaks putting out a lot of acorns, because deer love the oak trees. But getting back in there, I came into a really pretty area. A lot of deer traffic, a lot of sign of deer coming through. Found two big scrapes. Where I'm sitting out here today, I've got a scrape not too far from where I'm actually at. I could go over there to it, but I ain't gonna do that right now. But anyhow, the scrapes that I found were what we call community scrapes. Normally a big buck will come in and he'll make himself a scrape and he'll mark it, and then he'll come through, about every 3 days or so, and checking his scrape to see if any does have urinated in it, or if another buck is coming there and marked his scrape on top of him. Then it'll get to where that buck will keep coming so he can fight with the other buck that's intruded. It's a marker where they're marking their area. Community scrape is when there's multiple, there may be 10 or 12 different deer using the same scrape and marking it. I keep hearing thunder, and I'm out in the woods, you guys, so I'm taking a break. I'm soaked. But not listening, I was looking for more signs, more rubs and scrapes, and there's a lot of it in that area. And I heard a loud break, a limb break. Big old jet going. See it going through the trees up there. But anyhow, I was walking around looking. I did film it. I have not looked at the footage. I have not listened to it. But there was something crashed, and it sounded like a fairly large limb, like a pine limb, maybe, about that big around. And it sounded like it was like a dead limb, and it broke. fairly close to me. If I were to guess, I would say 80 yards, give or take 10. And I got to listening, and I trying to get an idea of exactly where it was at, and I knew the general direction. So I pulled my map up. I was looking at my map, trying to figure out where the four-wheeler was, which direction I had to go to get back to the four-wheeler, because I started getting creeped out. I was feeling weird, and then that limb, there was no wind blowing, and that loud crash that I heard, and when I figured out the direction I had to go to get back to the four-wheeler, it was, I don't remember the actual direction, but just as an example, it was that way. Well, that crash sound came from that way, and as I was mentioning it, that sound, whatever it was that broke, then I heard a growl. A growl came from the same way, and I had to go that way. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. But I did not see nothing. I did not encounter anything, thank God. And I made it back to the four-wheeler. I left, and I was trying to get to Blue Lake, and I took a wrong turn somewhere. I've only been over there coming from the new home. I've only been there, that would have been my second time yesterday if I would have made it, and I took a wrong turn somewhere. And when I pulled the map up, I was quite a ways off course, and there was rain coming in, so I decided I'd turn around, and on the way back I would stop at the Blue Hole, because I was really close to it. Went down there to film, and it was nasty. There's a faint oil slick on top of the water. There's a bunch of cushions from a couch somebody drug out there and left, and it was not a pretty sight, and I had no way to haul them off. These were really large, long cushions, long, round ones, looked like pipes. But I ended up 30. When I got to the point that I decided to go to Blue Hole instead of Blue Lake because I missed my turn, I had traveled 34 miles or 35 miles from the house. I didn't realize I was that far, and so I didn't stay at Blue Hole, but for 15 minutes at best, just enough to drink a bottle of water and cool off a minute, and then I left. But anyhow, today I am in the woods. It's another airplane, I'm sorry. I'm out here in the woods, and Rosie and Kim had to go to town, and then Kim had a couple of errands to run, and I was not going to town. I don't like driving unless we're driving the motorbike or something. But anyhow, I decided to stay here, and today would be a perfect opportunity to put the ladder stand up. Hunting season will be kicking off in October, and so we're going to start putting a few stands up here and there, and then next month we're going to be hard at it getting all of our stands up and getting our areas set up. But I want to show you where I was at. But before I did that, I wanted to tell you, we seen the craziest thing. I got so much bark. It's down my shirt. It's all over. You see all the specks. I got it in my mouth, in my eye, in my ear. Oh, I still got stuff in my ear. That little black dot that just come out of my ear. It's just I'm having to look up and try to knock these dead limbs down, and the little pieces just rain on you. Me, Kim, and Rosie went into the backyard night before last night, and we went out the front door, and we were going to walk around the house and back to the backyard to go check the goats, make sure they were all right before we went to bed. This was about 30 minutes after dark. I mean, just half hour after it got completely dark. We walked 10 feet from the steps, and there is a ball of light in the sky, not an airplane, not a helicopter. This is a ball of light, just a ball of blue light. And it was going toward the west, northwest general direction. It was moving that direction. It was really high, and at first I thought it was a satellite. And then it started curving to the straight west, then the southwest, then the south, and we walked, around the end of the house, and we were looking up watching it, and it stopped. I mean, it's moving through the sky, bzzz, and it just stops, and it sits there a minute, and then it takes off like a different direction. There were no blinking lights on it, no sound, and it was really high. I don't think we would have heard it if it were a plane at the height it was, but it was a really pretty, brilliant blue. I was telling Kim, I think that's a UFO, and she didn't know if it was a satellite or what it was. And well, it ended up, when it stopped and turned, it was moving to the east-southeast, and we were watching it, the three of us, and it's going across the sky like this, and then it just starts going. It's still traveling the same east-southeast direction, but it started going up, like into space. And it was in just a couple of seconds. It went from this ball of light to a pinpoint and gone. It just went up, vanished. And it was, told Kim, that's not a plane. That thing went way, way out there, and it just vanished. Within 2 minutes of us sitting there, can you hear the jet coming? There's a lot of planes today. There's a jet flying out there somewhere. I can hear it. We hear that noise, a jet coming. And we're trying to find it, and Rosie points and says, there it is, and the jet's faint. It's not real loud, it's faint, but you can definitely hear it. There's this orange ball of light. It wasn't round. It had a shape to it. It was not a triangle. It was to me it looked like if you were to take a triangle and then cut have one point being the nose of the craft, and then you cut it off and make it the front of it, the point. You cut that off to where it doesn't go to a point, it goes to a flat section. That's what it looked like to me. Well, it's coming across the sky, and that one's coming from the southeast. It's going toward the northwest, coming. We're watching it as it's coming across. It's turning, like doing a big circle. It's turning, but it's moving the whole time. There's no blinking lights on it. The jet noise we were hearing was getting a little louder, and then Rosie said there's another one, because it just come past the top of the oak tree where we could see it real good. And behind it was one of the military, whatever them fighter jets are. Behind that jet was another one. There were two jets. The jets were probably 500 yards apart from each other. They were really close. They were right behind this thing, this gold, whatever it was. Orange, it was more of an orange. This craft it's doing like a turn, and it eventually done this big turn over our head, and it's headed back toward the direction it came, like that general direction from the southeast. The jets they're keeping up, they're gaining on it. And there was a gap between that craft and the jets, looking up in the sky, I would assume a couple of miles, and the jets closed the gap. Now, they weren't gaining on it incredibly fast, but they were definitely gaining on it. And they get up to where the distance between the two jets had gotten closer. They were probably 300 yards from one another. And when the lead jet got about that same distance to that craft turned a brilliant gold, super bright, beautiful gold color. And it just like a light bulb. When a light bulb blows, if you happen to be looking at it, when they blow, they'll like get real bright, just a flash, and they're gone. That's what this thing did. It just went from this beautiful, brilliant gold, and it just flashed, and there was nothing there. And the jets, they went right past where it flashed out. They went right past through there, and as they were continuing toward that southeast direction, then they spread out where they were side by side, and it was weird. It was really strange. We seen 3 different craft. We seen 5 or 6. I think the other ones were satellites, but we seen 3 that were not satellites. They were not aircraft as I know it. Not a helicopter, not an airplane. Definitely not a blimp or a balloon, a hot air balloon. These were pretty fast moving crafts. Intense light. A couple of them were super, super bright. And they'd come across the sky, and the majority of what we seen, if it weren't a satellite, they'd come across the sky, they'd either just disappear, like the light they were putting off would just stop, it would be gone, or they would turn and go up and until they're out of sight, and it only took a second. But just strange, a really, really strange day, a lot of strange stuff that we got to see. And anyway, I thought it was fascinating. I want to share it with you. Let me turn this camera around. I'll show you where I'm at. Let me get my screen to come on. Come on. What is wrong with this thing? There we go. This is where I'm at right now. All right, there is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Right through there, between these pines, this bigger pine and the small one, off in the distance, is a long orange ribbon hanging from a tree. That is a community scrape, buck scrape. There's 3 around that big holly bush just right there past these pines. That trail, it goes that direction, but it comes up here, right back through the bushes there, where the trail is straight from me, is 38 yards from right here. It circles around, it goes behind this little oak, it goes behind these little oaks, and then it comes out right there, straight behind me. It comes out on the road. And I've got a ribbon, I don't know if you can see it, about 60 yards from me, there's a ribbon hanging from the tree. That's the road, the dirt road. I am right on the dirt road. I made my trail right here. I had to bring the 4-wheeler in here to put this stand up because I'm by myself, and this is a really tall one. It's a 2-man ladder stand. It belongs to Chris, Brother Chris Claghorn, and he loaned it to me. He lets me. A lot of the tree stands I have belong to him. If you see you can see a ladder through the trees out there. That ladder is on the road. It's one of them tall extension ladders. That's also Chris's. But I stood that ladder up on this tree, and I run my rope around this limb, and then it went down there where all the bushes are flattened out. I had the ladder stand laid down right there, and I tied the rope to it, and then I backed the 4-wheeler up over here, and I tied it to the winch, and then I used the winch and I hoisted this thing until it was vertical, and I connected it to the tree, and I got everything put up. Excuse me. This is a 2-man ladder stand. Rosie will be hunting with me, and Kim will be hunting with me. And I want both of them to get them a good buck this year. If Rosie gets one, it'll be her first buck she's ever taken, her first deer. And so our buddy Kenny, he is a taxidermist, and he's going to get it mounted for her once we get it cleaned. That's a deer trail right there. And that one comes up here. It ties into this same one right here behind me. There's another scrape back over there. There's a holly. I can cut a couple of bushes down, that persimmon tree and that little oak, and I'd be able to shoot if a buck comes through there. But I'm not going to cut the trees. We're going to focus on this one over here. We got a big buck, and we got a blind up out there on the road, about 75 to 100 yards from where I'm at, if you walk on the road directly behind me. And then we got a ladder stand back here on the other side of the road, and we got 2 giant bucks on here we've been trying to get for forever, and they're just super smart. They're old and they keep outwitting us. But I didn't know this oak tree was here, and I came up on it yesterday for the first time, and it is absolutely loaded. You're not going to be able to see them. Well, maybe. The little balls you see all over it, those are baby acorns. They're little bitty and they're gold right now. But this tree is absolutely packed with them. There's multiple trunks of this oak tree. All of this taller stuff right here, all of this is oaks, and all of them have acorns on them. So this will be a hot spot. I'll put the ladder stand up. I've got a camera I'm going to put up too over here, just watching the area in general. I want to try to catch that trail where they're coming in. I want them to get accustomed to the stand being here, so when hunting season begins, they'll be comfortable in coming through. I've got to put the camera's going to go somewhere over here, and I'm going to put a little bit of feed out just to see what's coming through right now. Hopefully we don't get a bear on camera, because I don't want to be in here with a bear. But it's so pretty up here. Right down there, you could probably make that trail out. There's a trail coming around the oaks, and it goes right through there. You can sort of see it right there. It's traveling down that row of pines. It gets down over there, it turns, comes out on the other side of that holly and these pines, and that little oak comes out right there. So by sitting right here, Rosie's left-handed, so I have her sit on this side of this ladder stand. And hopefully, if he comes in over here, she'll be able to make the shot. But I got to work with her on shooting them awkward angle shots. If she can't do it, then she'll just have to sit on the other side, and we'll have to maneuver. I just want her to be able to get one without hurting him. Got to be an efficient harvest. There's that ribbon that's right through over there. If you can make that one out, that's a scrape on that one too. Bird singing to me. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. He's right here. Right straight right there on the limb. Hey, little dude. Let me see if I can zoom in at all. Come on, there it goes. It ain't gonna let me do much. He's right there. Right below this limb. He's right here. Right on the end of the limb. Kind of a yellow color. Oh well, I'm not a whistler. Trying to get my zoom to come out. There you go. Well, I gotta climb down. Well, this is high. I ain't never really looked down at it. I don't like that. It does have a rail, a shooting rail right here. But whoever put this together for Chris, these are on wrong. They're supposed to be below this so you can adjust the height of it. And this is supposed to be on the left side, and the other one's supposed to be on this side. They're on backwards and on the wrong side of the rail. So you can't adjust the height on the rail at all. So I just moved them up and flipped the rail up. But all of this would be close anyway. You can freehand these shots. I got to trim a couple of bitty limbs off this holly right here just to make a shooting window right here. And this tall holly, I'm going to put a piece of parachute cord on it, and I'm going to pull it over and tie it off to a pine just to move it out of the way. There's a clump of oaks and pines right there. If I can pull it back in line with that, then it won't affect our shots. I have a feeling our shots are going to be through there. It's going to be right there in that window, back behind us, or out here. All these dead limbs coming off these sand pines, I got to come here and knock them all off. And I'll do that sometime here in the next week or so. And again, open up, figure out where I can open up a shooting window over here. But I may not mess with any of this except for this one tall holly right here in front of me. I'll take it down, but other than that, I'll probably leave the rest. Holy cow, that's a storm cloud coming. Alright guys, well I'm going to get out of here. I did not know it was going to storm. I got to go out to the road and I got to tie that ladder to the back of the four-wheeler. I got to strap it down with that orange strap so that I can drag it back. I can get up to the house. All my camera gear's on the front of the four-wheeler in that backpack. And that is not my waterproof backpack. Jeff Townsend gave me just an awesome backpack, a very expensive one, 3 or 4 years ago. And that one is waterproof, but I normally use it during hunting season because it's camouflage and it has that odor control stuff so your scent doesn't stick to it. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'll stop blabbing. Y'all have an amazing day. I love you all. God bless you. Be kind, be safe, be blessed in all you do. If there's anything that I can do for you, or if you have anything you'd like to share with the rest of our family here, please shoot me an email. My email address is standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com. I got caught up on my emails 3 days ago, and I have not checked them since. So if you've emailed me within the last 3 days and I haven't responded, I'll get to them this evening or tomorrow. I will get them caught up. I finally had a little bit of free time. I had 2 days and I've taken advantage of it so that I can get some stuff done. Ooh, this is scary. But I will absolutely be checking them, and I'll be responding to you here directly, almost directly. Oh, thought this was a 12-foot ladder stand. I've never put this one up. This is the first time. That is not 12 foot. That thing's probably, ooh, it stinks. Oh, that reminds me, real quick, something y'all probably get a kick out of it. When I was on that property yesterday, when you're going through the timber due to deadfall, these limbs that'll fall, they'll get pine straw and stuff covering them, and so you'll have a stub sticking up like that, and it'll trip you if you're not careful. So normally if I come up on them like this, I'll just kick them out of the way so I don't trip out of them, and I'll keep going. Well, there was a stub about this big, and it was sticking up, and it was right in the pine straw, right down the row of pines I was walking in. And I kicked it, and the ground blew up. I mean, there was pine needles and leaves going everywhere. It was a dad-burned copperhead snake, and I don't know why I did not recognize it for what it was. He just had about 8 or 9 inches of his head and behind his head sticking up out of that pine straw, and I thought it was a stump like this, and I kicked the tar out of him, and oh, I'm glad he didn't bite me. But he was getting gone. I gave him a headache, and so he went the other direction. Yeah, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. He didn't get me. He scared me, but that was it. I'll see you guys soon. It's fixing to come a downpour. I got to get going. Bye-bye.